Okay, so the next linked list question is remove the end node from the end of list. Are given the head of a linked list, which represents the linked list, remove the end node from the end of the list and return its head. So we'll not change it in place, but we will rather return a linked list, or rather its head. So, for example, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and n is equal to 2. So this is 1, not 0, and this is 2. We'll remove it. One way I can think of doing this is by reversing the linked list and then skipping the nth node and then re-reversing it to go back to the original form. So let me just write some comments. First, the original linked list, right? Skip the nth node, reverse the linked list, and finally return it. Okay, so as always, to reverse a linked list, we need 2 pointers, the previous and the current, and we'll keep swapping them. So we got current is none, the current is head, and the previous is none. So to keep track of, to keep the value that we will change, which is next, we will change the next of the current to previous, but we will need the next of the current to keep iterating through our whole list. So we'll need a temporary variable, temp next, we call it, equals to current dot next, and here we'll do current equals not current dot next, but rather temp underscore next, and we'll change current dot next to previous. And for the first iteration, for example, it's going to be none because it's the first node, and before the first node we have nothing, so it's none, and we will update previous equals current. And I mean, as always, we will modify previous, but we will not use it, right? We'll use it in the next iteration. So the previous is the current for the next iteration, which makes sense. Now to skip the end node, we've got like one edge case we should think of, which is when it's the first node, when we got n, this input variable n is equal to 1, for example. And with the reversed list is previous, right? So we'll do current equals to previous. We don't need the current because current right now is none, but we'll use the same name, which is current, and previous is the reversed list, and we will need a counter and put the counter equals 0. Sorry about that. Okay, so while current, we've got counter plus equals 1, and the current equals current dot next, and the condition of skipping we will do if counter is equal to n. In that case, current dot next equals to current dot next. But like I said, since we will need to take into account the case where we've got n equals 1, for example these two here, we'll need to add a pre-head because we cannot change the next of none, for example, because we don't have a pre-head, we just cannot. So we'll do current dot next is equal to previous, and the current is actually a new list node which has the value -1. So we've got -1, and then right after that the reversed linked list. So as if we got, for example, like -1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this way, for example, if we had 1, that's why we incremented at the beginning. That 1 equals to 1, so we'll skip and then iterate through our list. And the resulting linked list, the head of the resulting linked list is going to be the current.next. I mean the prehead.next. So I need to call it right. This is a small mistake here. So this is, I'll call it prehead, right? I mean we can keep it as current. Let me think of this. Current will update the current, so I'm gonna need to rename this to prehead. Prehead current is equal to prehead, right? And the pre-head dot next. So the resultant is gonna be pre-head dot next, and current is none. So to reverse it, obviously exactly like the same one, the same step. The first, exactly like the first step, we will need 2 pointers, current and previous. While current temp next is equal to current dot next. Current dot next equals to previous, and previous is equal to the current, and current is equal to temporary next. Return previous. I mean, this makes sense, so I guess I can try it, see if there's any problems here. Current is equal to pre-head. Small typo here. Iterating looks good. Okay. So, like I said, this is one way of doing this. Reverse the original linked list, skip the end node, and re-reverse it. This is almost exactly the same code here. I did it this way because it's hard to know how many nodes are left unless, unless we traverse all the lists with the list node.